All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm not sure where you're joining in from. How is the weather from you? How is the weather at your end? I'm here in Kaduna, here in Nigeria, and it's been raining. The weather is very cold and kind of confusing, right? One minute it's very cold, another minute it's hot, the next minute it's breezy. So I'm not sure, but from this end, it's not really a very friendly weather. But anyways, that aside, you're welcome to the second episode of Leadership Nuggets with Farmalat Outliers. We had our first episode at the beginning of the month with Dr. Nancy Enieto, who is our pioneer outlier from Michael Okpara University. But today we're going to have Dr. Aminu Abdisalam. He's our outlier from University of Abuja from last year. That's 2022. And he just recently concluded his compulsory NYSC NYSC program. I think he concluded about 2 or 3 days ago. Congratulations, Doc. So I'll be introducing him properly, and then of course we can start. So my name is Dr. Tumsia Maimunaman Isa, and I'm Community Engagement Manager for Farmalat. And I'll be bringing up Dr. Aminu Abdisalam, aka Dr. Smoke, right? That's what we call him. So I'm not sure he'll let us know if the public is free to call him that or not. That's on a lighter note. Dr. Aminu Abdisalam, you're most welcome. Can we have you on?
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Tumsia.
Thank you. How are you?
um, I'm very fine, ma. I'm fine, ma.
All right. So quickly, are we allowed to call you Dr. Smoke?
um,
That aside, that
uh,
aside.
I think that name was more like a university name. So it's whenever I see a university student around that they still call me that name. But after university, we have to move on. And the name is no
Exactly. So
longer.
let's leave it within University of Abuja walls. Let's just leave it
Yeah.
there, right?
Yes,
Let's just
ma.
leave it there. Anyways, that's on a lighter note. So we had the first episode about 3 weeks ago. It was very, very interesting, and we were able to get some important nuggets, leadership nuggets from Dr. Nancy. And I'm hoping that we're going to get more from you, right? I'm hoping, the goal is to have students across Nigeria, veterinary students who, of course, are aspiring to, I'm sure, win this award, be recognized for leadership, creativity, and innovation. So it's very, it'll be really nice to share these nuggets with you so that, upcoming um, outliers can prep themselves, right, for this particular position. So you're going to be sharing with us your leadership story through veterinary school in the University of Abuja. So Dr. Aminu Abdisalam is our outlier from the University of Abuja, though we're about to get a recent one from the same university very, very soon. I guess the induction is
Yeah,
coming
that's
up
correct.
shortly.
That's correct.
Yes, the outlier community is becoming, I think currently we have about 8 outliers, so the community is becoming huge. And it's very important that we're able to put out valuable content from our community. Dr. Abdisalam, may we know you? Can you
All right.
introduce yourself?
My name is Dr. Aminu Abdusalam Inisi, a veterinary doctor by profession, and currently a business relationship manager with Money Points, one of the fastest growing companies in Africa right now. What I do for them is I help them manage business owners. We give them POS machine, and we also help them manage issues with their POS machine. I think currently I'm managing over 300 business owners, including merchants like filling station, pharmacies, supermarkets, and so on, with over 200 having POS machine and 100 not having POS machine. So we help them manage their business account and finances. And if other businesses want to collect POS machine, we are the ones that go out there to give them the POS machine. And it's more like far different from my profession, which is veterinary medicine, but it's a new thing I'm learning, and I think I've gained at least 1.5 year experience in the banking industry, addition with my veterinary profession. So that's what I do currently.
All
Thank you,
right,
ma'am.
that's really interesting. And the good thing is that you look excited because I'm sure this is the excitement that comes with trying something new, something different, right? And the good thing is
Yeah, yes, sir.
Dr. Aminu, can you just turn your phone, just put it in a landscape mode?
Okay, okay, okay,
Just
okay.
yes, that will give
Yes.
us a better perspective. Yes, yes, better. Thank you. So I'm really excited that you're exploring other areas, right? And we hope that at the end of the day, all of these experiences, whether in the vet industry or in the business, in the banking industry, you're able to culminate all of these things, and we're able to, just apply it in the animal health space. You can still be a
All
veterinarian.
right.
All of this, yes, all of these experiences at the end of the day will make up to something great. So let's quickly, you've introduced yourself. Currently, we know your affiliation is with Money Point. You said you're their business relation manager, managing over 300 businesses and merchants. I think that's a very good start. You're doing something amazingly well out there. I think I like Money Point. They seem to have a good thing going on for them. Yeah. Stop smiling. Stop smiling. They seem to have a very good thing going on for them, right? So just keep up
Yeah.
the good. So let's get down to the main business of the day. So what does
Mm.
leadership mean to you, right? We're talking about leadership nuggets. So nuggets basically are pricey, a literal definition at like um, golden stuff that you drop at people, like very important things. So in this context, let's say nuggets are all those important and valuable tips, in relation to leadership that you would want to share with aspiring outliers out there. So let's take this. What does leadership mean to you generally? What does leadership mean?
Okay. What I know, what I understand leadership to be is to serve, to lead people by serving them. That's my simple definition of leadership.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Mm.
I like that. To serve people, yeah, because that is what it actually means to be a true leader, right? Be able to basically serve people. You're leading them, right? But you're leading them through service. You're
Yes.
serving them. Yes, yes. So I like that that definition and that the briefness. It's brief, yet it contains a lot of that serve, that word particularly. I like it. So do you think
Thank
there's a
you.
difference between leadership and management? Like leading people and managing?
Mm, I think management is the quality of leadership. You can't be a leader without knowing how to manage people, because understanding people is one thing every leader should know. So managing people is a core skill, or it is a core part of leadership, if you ask me.
Hmm,
Yes, ma'am.
exactly, exactly, exactly. All right, so let's go down memory lane. We're going to be talking about your role as a leader while you were a student and how you were able to land this award. While we're going through memory lane, like we're going to be asking you questions that, those questions will lead to you, sharing those tips on how you were able to navigate your way through from your first year all through to your sixth year, and now we're here today. So, what we're going to do, we're going to start from your first year. So, you're going to let us know: did you hold any position in your first year, whether it's in class, in the hostel, or in the local association, that's the AVMS or the NAVMS. So we're just going to see, and then we talk about the challenges and how you were able to navigate your way through. So let's start from your first year. You spent 6 years. Let's technically 6 years. Well, I'm sure there were some battles in the middle that maybe you ended up spending more than 6 years. That's typical of a Nigerian system. So let's say 6 years. We're going to be talking about the 6 years now, right? So in your
Yeah,
first
right,
year,
ma'am.
can you share with us, did you assume any role? How was it? What were the challenges you faced? And what tips
Okay.
were you able to apply to get you through those times. So let's go.
All right. I started from remedial sciences. That's pre 100 level at University of Abuja here. I think then I didn't hold any position, but I am very good with my academics then, especially the calculative aspect. That's mathematics, physics, and chemistry. So what I do then was since my secondary school, I have a thing of wanting to teach people what I know. All right. So as soon as I entered remedial science in the University of Abuja, I started organizing little tutorials for like 2 or 3 persons. Like, okay, I know this physics very well, so you guys should come and let me teach you how to do it. So then I wouldn't say I held any position, but I was a leader in the aspect of teaching people what I know. And that was what I did in my remedial science and my 100 level. So I focused on teaching people, and over time, the class was improving. Like the number of students that attended the class kept on increasing and increasing. And I think I still have a picture of that on my Facebook where I was looking at the class I was tutoring, and there were close to 100 students in the class as a 200 level student, because that was where I was like, wow, wow, that's interesting. So I make research, learn what I need to learn it very well, because as a leader, you have to know what you're doing. So whatever it is you are leading in, whether administration, management, politics, you need to understand the system of what you're doing very well and understand how the people feel. Right, so that's empathy. Yes, you need to know what people are going through. So that's how it started from my remedial and my 100 level. I didn't hold any position those periods. I just focused on teaching, and people know me as a tutor of calculation subjects in my 100 and remedials. But when I got to my 200 level, with the popularity and name I've made in this tutorial space, our class rep then did not pass 100 level to 200 level. So the class called a consensus and requested for a new leader to serve them as their class rep. That's in the 200 level. Right. And I was not there, but I was nominated. So when I came, I was like, why would they nominate me without even informing me? They said, no, they believe I can lead them. And in the aspect of leading them, I also be putting them through in the academics. So they looked at that part of my tutoring as one of the core skills. And I was able to make sure I carried them along as one of the major skills I had to make me their class rep. And by the grace of God, I accepted that position and served them as their class rep from my 200 level to my 600 level. All right. So that was how I took the class along. All right. So in my 200 level, as I was the class rep, MSS also invited me to be one of their PROs because I'm quite outspoken. So I was also the PRO of MSS N in Abuja, PRO 4, I guess. Then, so whenever I go to mosques and there's an announcement to give, after each prayer, I pass the announcement and we continue. Then, towards the end of my 200 level to 300 level, I wrote a book. Yes, I wrote a book that was published also in mathematics then, because there was a course, Math 103, trigonometry. It was a difficult course for almost all the departments because everybody was offering it then. Minus vet. It's not as if we were not offering it, vets were not offering it, but other departments were offering it. The ones vets were offering, I wasn't opportune to write a book on them, but I wrote materials on them that people can go through. Questions and answers for the past 5 years, core key formulas they need to attend to questions and all. So I just documented them and wrote them down so that people that want to get it can come and collect and photocopy. I think I left copies in major cyber cafes. So if you go there and you are interested in getting that, you can just pick it up, photocopy it, and go. Not for money, but just for passing the knowledge across. Alright, so that
Now I think I get where the name Dr. Smoke is coming. That name emanated from, because with all these things that you're saying, anybody that does maths and does physics, then the smoke is a serious smoke. Oh. I can even see it coming up in your head. Me by the mere
well,
sight of it,
you're not seeing.
I'm seeing it. Oh, by the mere mention of numbers, I start shaking. I'm not even
Ah.
seeing the money. I start shaking. I think the only numbers I want to see is money. Anything outside of money, I'm not sure I'm interested. I'm not sure I'm interested. Anyways, that's really nice to know, right? As a young student in your pre-years of school, you were already ready to share knowledge, right? Regardless, people from higher classes were coming to learn from you, and you were ready to share for free, right? Posting tutorials, coming, putting books together, giving it to the public. To me, I think that's a very, very good, that's a good trait for a leader. Just release yourself, give it all, be a leader, serve people, help people, be there for people. And one thing that got me again, when you talked about researching, right? You need to understand the system, you need to understand the people you want to lead. So you need to immerse yourself in the system, because that's the only way, right? You will understand what's going on, and also relate well with these people, because that's the only way they will open up and you will get a better insight of the system. So empathy is a very good, it's one of the core, to me I would say it's one, core value a leader is supposed to have. And then research. I think generally anywhere you find yourself, right, you need to constantly research, because without research and learning, because through research, you would unlearn and relearn, right? So it's a continuous cycle. You keep learning, you unlearn things that aren't working, you learn things that are working and applicable to your system. So it's a continuous cycle, right? And you said in your second year, because I'm sure what actually got you nominated, even in your absence, and that trust that your classmates had in you was your track record, right? With all that you have been doing in your pre years and your 100 level, right? Because you keep doing what you're doing, but people are watching. That's very, very important. People are watching. You might just be doing you, nothing extra. You're just doing it because it's who you are. But the world is watching, and then the day will come when the world will say, or let me not use the world in this context, where your peer would see you worthy of being the leader. And I think for you, your second year was that time where your classmates felt strongly that you could lead them, and they would trust you to lead them well. The MSS also reached out to you to serve as their PRO. So during this your years as a class rep, did you by chance hold any other position outside your class, say in the NAVMS or AVMS? Sorry for those who
Okay.
are listening. AVMS being the Association of
Book.
Veterinary Medical Students, right?
Yes. Okay.
Ah, right.
Ma, did you say post or book? Like
Post.
post. Okay. 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 Yes. That was in my 200 level. Yes, in 300 level. I contested for director of socials, because I feel okay. I think a Muslim has never contested for that position before. It has always been Christians, because they believe the Muslims don't know how to organize social activities. Not that kind of social activities, but the kind of social activities they want. Alright, and I think so far with the president I worked with, Dr. Stephen Okwada, we
The Bedu
we were
kind of
able
social.
to, yeah. I think we had the best director of social and president combo that period, because I served under Dr. Stephen Okwada, and he's also a very gang person. So
Yeah,
I
Dr.
think during
Stevie. I just heard you're a Genge person. I'm paying you a visit very soon. I
so
see a
then
lot of
I
Genges
think
online right now.
they could testify that yes, they've never had this kind of, even our seniors were like they've never had this kind of director of socials before, because it was always book. There was no time to relax, watch movies, have a meet and greet within the school environment. Not like party, but those that want party, we can organize something like that for them. But they enjoy the fact that time to time there were activities that could relax them, because the way the vet school is, it's
Hmm.
so tight that you won't have time. But with the
No,
relationship I created with the yes, the relationship I created with the management of the faculty then and the school itself, I could always get approval if I wanted approval for any program. It's not easy to get approval, but whenever I want approval for a program, the relationship I have, I know who to go to connect me to who to go to, and I will get the approval. So we're having these breaks to relax the mind. And I don't know, let me not over exaggerate it. That's the result of classes that period. I think it was better rough than the previous year, because people were reading. We had our director of socials, but I also added academic activities to it. There was this mentoring scheme that somebody is under somebody to mentor. I didn't make it strictly social activities. I added academics to it. Because each class have who was mentoring them or who was taking them tutorials and still under my office. So the performance that period was quite amazing, because people had fun and people did well academically. So that was what I did in my 300 level, and all this was successful with God and with my president, Dr. Stephen Okwada, because he also used to bring his own personal funds to help us run the system. Because if it was only the association funds, we won't be able
They
to run
just
the
they are
system like
just
that.
telling us now like you are a senior man. Oh. They are just telling us that you're a senior man. They are telling us you're a senior man. Anyways, that's on the light hand. I like that part of study life balance, because even us now post school, we're struggling with work life balance, right? And one needs to be able to strike a balance between these two aspects. So for you students, we're
Yeah,
going to be talking about study life balance, right? So you have your
yeah,
studies, you have your life. You cannot allow just one part to suffer at the expense of the
mm,
other, right? Because it has
yeah,
this effect on you mentally, right? Even as a staff, right? As you're working, right? If you neglect your life and focus on your work, your life will suffer. And if your life suffers, then mentally you're not going to be stable. And I loved,
mm,
there's one thing that you talked about again, quality network, right? You know who to go to talk to who, to talk to who, right? So that's why I said amongst the conversation, amidst the conversation, sorry, we'll be dropping the nuggets, right? You talked about teaching, you talked about sharing knowledge, you talked about research and leading with empathy, you talked about quality network, right? So as
okay,
you're in school, network is very important, right? It's very, very important. Not just any kind of network, right? You have quality network, people that you know that if you call now, you put a call through, it to solve your problem. As a leader,
yeah,
it's something you need. You need quality network to be able to make things happen, right? That's the word. That's the phrase, make things happen. You need to know who to know. You need to know who knows who. You understand?
mm,
Because I
you're
can
very
only
correct.
school, yes. Because for us, maybe because we down there in the north, I schooled in Sokoto, right? So for us, it was just all about school, 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 school. Like for me, I was not even interested in any AVMS or LVMS or WAE. I was not even interested. I was just doing, I think, okay, I was getting class work from my second year all through to my sixth year. I think that was it.
Oh,
But the AVMS, I was not interested because in our head, we just felt like if we had engaged ourselves in things like that, we just feel, right? So we were not able
mm,
to strike a balance, right? So you, when you were even talking about the director socials and stuff, I didn't even have that luxury, right? But it's still good. I'm happy that you guys are able to balance. You were able to, carry the entire community along, right? To be able to experience life outside studies and still be able to pay quality attention to their studies. Because you made mention of having a good, the result came out very well, right? And that's because I'm sure people were able to unwind. Because sometimes when you're tensed, you can't even focus. You can't even study properly. When you're tensed, you can't focus. It just looks like you read it before you go and buy one sachet of pure water and come back, you have forgotten what you read because you're not even understanding, right? And I also
yes, sir.
loved that part where you were able to blend with mentoring. Right now I think that's a very important ingredient in growth and development. You need mentorship. You need that shoulder to stand on. You need to be able to see through an experienced person's lens, right? So that you would avoid, because when mentors share experience with you, it helps you avoid certain pitfalls, right? Because they're able to guide you. They're vulnerable. They tell you what it is, how it's supposed to be, how, how it was for them, right? Things they would have done better, things they would have avoided, where they would have paid more attention. So to me, I call mentorship an accelerator for growth and development, right? Because it just helps you, right? You're able to speak to an experienced person and he's able to share useful information, useful tips with you. So let's move to your, but I want to also know if there were some of these challenges you faced as a leader, and generally how you were able to overcome them and still be there for your community.
All right. In terms of challenges, quality network also helped us achieve that, because sometimes once we have a program, the school management will send security, the same school management that gave us approval. Some set of securities will still come and want to terminate our program and say no, we shouldn't be having a program here. And I will still have a way to still connect with my networks. I will just make call, and you see that they also call them that, okay, please let those people be. In terms of our program organizing, that's one thing we face. Then in terms of issues, because sometimes you can be having a program and external bodies will come and want to spoil the program, like bad boys in the school. Whenever they hear a speaker is going on or something, they always want to come and scatter the program. But still on that, we still have people who will call to help us talk to those bad boys, to help to stop the havoc they want to cause in our programs. So basically, that was that. Then issue of staff advisor. Whenever we have issues within ourselves, we the students or students in the association, we have staff advisors and patrons we can always invite to help resolve the issues. Those are some of the ways we manage some issues. And financial issues were also involved, or we have a way of always going out to look for funds to help us run our programs. So then in my final year, I served them as the president. In my 400 level, I served as secretary general, while 500 level, I just remained the class rep. So 600 level was more of the toughest level, because you have a lot to do, serving the class, serving the students, and also serving yourself. All right. So the major challenge started when I just entered office as the president. Accommodation has always been an issue in the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine or in University of Abuja in a whole. Everybody cannot get accommodation. It was the first challenge I was faced with when I entered office.
Remember in school then they used
So
to tell us that accommodation is a privilege, it's not a right.
hey,
Privilege.
that is what VPN told us. That is what
Yes,
VPN told us.
then it's a privilege, not a right. And in my head, I'm like, are we going to? I left my parents. Am I going to live on a
I,
dole? I wanted to
Ah,
yeah.
at some point, we feel like we want to go and report to VCN, or that school don't want to give us accommodation. We're like, will VCN come and start beating the school or telling the school that, but we know that yes, all these things is still an internal struggle. We still have to do it ourselves before we can now say, okay, it didn't work. Let's invite external factors. But meanwhile, the accommodation thing was tough, but we still have a way of bringing our staff advisors into the game. Like Dr. Idoko Sunday was one of our very good staff advisor, and he connected me with somebody, the Dean of Student Affairs, and the Dean of Student Affairs himself connected me with the secretary, which is Mr. Bassett. So one year or the other, I got to connect with Mr. Bassett. I knew him since he was a student when I was also in remedials. He was in his final year then. That was the dean's secretary. So I maintained this relationship with him over time. This is like 6 years later or 5 years later after I've known him. So what is that? I have his number. We're always communicating. Whenever he posts, I reply and all. And I go to his house once in a while. So what I did was, since I've been connected with the secretary, I told the secretary, I will come and stay in your house until all my people get accommodation. I will be with him. He will be attending to other people. I will just be patient. I will still be following him up that, see, my students must get accommodation, because if I go back to my student and they tell me they don't have accommodation, I can't face them. Meanwhile, I have a relationship with who is doing it. So what will I tell them that they didn't get accommodation? So we communicated. I kept on staying with him. I stayed with him for like 4 to 5 days. Like I left my hostel and went to stay in the secretary's house for like 5 days just to make sure almost 100%, if not 100% of my students get accommodation. So we were cooking together. When we need to go and buy something, I'll just say, "Don't worry, let me go and buy it." I'll go and buy. We'll cook together. We'll eat, sleep. We had something to do, but we didn't make it feel like that was the only thing we came to do. Like we were still playing games in his house. Like we'll play these card games. We'll eat, sleep, watch movie. But once we want to go, I was like, "Oh, we still have work. Oh, let's cover some for today. We'll now do small again. We'll continue because I don't want it to make it feel like that I just came just for the accommodation. No, no, I want it to feel like okay, I'm for the accommodation, oh, but let other things still be going on, And that was how I was able to achieve the accommodation. Until tomorrow, when you go back and ask in veterinary medicine, my juniors now, they always say that Kai, during Dr. Smoke time, or more accommodation
There was
was something
accommodation.
else. So that was one of the challenges and we were able to face it. So I still appreciate our staff advisor then for linking me up, that's Dr. Idoko, for linking me up to the Dean of Student Affairs, which is Dr. Omar Kari, who also directed me to his secretary, who I didn't know was the secretary. It was when they told me it was the secretary, I was like, the job is done.
It is done.
So
I have it. Yes, I have it all sorted out. That's really, the whole thing here, like, right, I get is that just maintain good relationship over time, lay your
yeah,
hands on quality
yes,
network. And I think that's even applicable all over the world, right? You need to this on your phone, you need to be able to have contacts that can help you solve problems, right? And even if the person should be able to talk to somebody who can talk to somebody, right? Because processes don't happen by themselves. We need people to make things happen, right? We need process. So we need a leader who will not just sit down and say, "Talk, there is no accommodation. You guys know that this is like the norm. Vet students don't get accommodation, or not everybody gets accommodation, or you too, you come and start stepping down the information to them and telling them accommodation is a privilege, it's not a right, right? You you come and start stepping down that very scary statement. You are leaving your parents' house with your box, and they're telling you accommodation is a privilege, not a right. And the first day I heard that phrase, I was like, what is going on? What do I do? Where do I go to? Left Niger, I'm in Sokoto, and somebody is telling me accommodation is a privilege. So I think that's one thing that you even did as a leader, right? Because if you have you're sure, you're able to get 100% of your students to get accommodated. I think that's a huge accomplishment, if you ask me. And of course, you were selfless, you were patient, because you left your hostel, went to stay with the secretary, stayed in their house for like 3 or 4 or 5 days until you were patient enough, to get things done, to solve one problem. Because, when you talk about impact, it's not about just that one thing that you have done, right? But there is this effect, there's this effect that emanates from direct impact, and then you have the indirect impact. Somebody now got the accommodation, the person is close to school, the person doesn't have to worry about transportation, the person doesn't have to worry about um and house rent, the person doesn't have to worry about other bills. So you have directly impacted them by providing accommodation, but trust me, indirectly you solved a multitude of problems for students, trust me. Because I stayed off campus just 1 year, and I know what it is, right? We're always complaining about how bad the hostel accommodation is, but hey, it's better to be in that hostel, right? Especially in vet school, that you just close one of your eyes, they'll tell you, a lecturer said, is it from off campus? You want to start running back and coming back to come and see what's going on, right? So trust me, living living in the hostel as a vet student is the best thing that can happen to anybody, right? So you really did amazingly well with getting accommodation for all your students. Well done. So your time
thank you.
as a president seems, to be full of accomplishments and beautiful moments. But I'm sure there was one thing that challenged you as a leader, right? And Was that time, was there, did you have that experience like it really challenged you and your students were not really feeling you? They were like, Dr. T,
Hmm.
like what's going on? We need you to do better, right? You can do better. Was that, did you have that kind of experience and what did you do? What were these
Yes, yes,
like,
yes. I think
ah,
it's been a long time, but it's coming back gradually. I'm trying to pick them up from my memory, but they are coming back gradually. So there was a time when the exam timetable was so close. Like in a day, we can have two exams. Was that? It was one of these two. Either the exams was very close, or we have not finished lectures, and the following week is exams. So one of those challenges, either the exams were very close and plenty exams in a day, or the exam is just next week and we're still having lecture this week. So a lot of students are complaining like, we have not even started reading for this exam and we want to start exam on Monday. At least let's have some days where we can calm down and do some little rehearsals, complete our notes and all. So it was just everybody was under tension that exam is just starting next week. No impromptu, no any prior information before the exams. So everybody was down and all. So what I had to do was invite our staff advisors. I think two of them, Dr. Idoko and one other person, invite our staff advisors, then visit the faculty, that's the dean himself and his deputy dean. Discuss with them that these students are on. In fact, the students were on our neck. Like, what's the use of AVMS if students are complaining about exams and they can't get what they want? How do we want students to fail? All and all. And it was coming from all angles. People that like you, people that don't like you. Everybody was just complaining about the whole thing. So doing this was, we try to calm them down and say, this is school's decision. We can't really do anything about it. But we see that the atmosphere was on tension. Everybody was not happy. It was okay. I called my escorts. I think we need to sit down together and find solution to this problem because the students are not happy. So what we did was invite our staff advisors, discuss with them that please can we plead for at least 2 to 3 days extension so that everybody can prepare. And within these 2 to 3 days, let us not have lectures. Let everybody just find a way to settle down, relax their mind, so that people will not break down in exam hall because these lectures were back to back. Now we're just entering the exam like that again. Though normally vet school that's how it's supposed to be, but I think we were not used to it in the University of Abuja at some point. We were not very used to it then. So we had to adjust a little. So what we did was go to our staff advisor and thereafter visit our dean. So we were able to get the approval. They didn't say you will get back to us. So we were able to get approval that yes, okay, they will extend our timetable by 2 or 3 days. So that students can find time to relax, arrange themselves. Those staying off campus can come and see who they'll squat with and all. And we got the approval. I think that's one thing again. Students will always remember that Kai, if there's any issue students are facing, Dr. Smoke is somebody that will always go and make attempts to see that yes, okay, there's an adjustment or there's an improvement in what they are suffering. So that's another thing we face challenge on. And as the president in our caucus, in our cycle, some ESCOs will not always agree with you. You always have a fight with your own fellow ESCOs. Sometimes you might have to you want to try and resolve it, but it might not work. Still bringing staff advisors as a leader, you can't really do everything on your own. There's a point you have to get a superior to come and help resolve some disputes because it's not going to be easy for you as a leader. Because no matter how you try to resolve it, they'll think you're biased because you're also involved in the situation. So most times a superior person must always come into the system and help resolve the dispute. So that's that
yeah,
one.
sometimes there is need for an objective mind to come in, right? Somebody who is not part of the system generally, right? Just the way you're talking about getting your staff advisor to come and help you because as a student, we all need those staff advisors. Trust me, they are valuable because okay, there was one time I also was part of what do you call this committee, Seth? I can't even remember. Why am I feeling very old? I just left vet school yesterday and I can't even remember. Ha. So let's see. It's not even about me. Let's 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 just continue from your end, right? So so you're as a leader, you were a go-to person, right? You were open, you know, your community can walk up to you and say, Dr. Abdisalam, this is what we're going through. Can you help us solve this problem? So you were a go-to person. You were accessible, right? If I get that correctly. I can't hear you. Your
Yes,
mic is
very
not.
correct, ma. Very,
Yes, so
very,
you
very
were
correct, ma.
very,
Yes, yes. And
yes,
anybody
you
can
were
walk up to me. Anybody at all. Yeah.
very. All right, I think that's very
Yes,
important
ma.
because
So,
sometimes all these barriers, and I think that's why, and when people can access their leaders, I'm not saying at all times, right? You should be able to access your leader. It helps remove it will help remove all those barriers, and it will also make you as a leader responsible and accountable. When you know that your people are watching and your people can come to you, right, to talk to you and request for your assistance, right? It makes you
yes,
it
ma.
makes you responsible, and then it also makes you accountable. Um, so for you, what I understand is that you had some internal squabbles. Of course, that one is a sure thing amongst people,
Yes.
right? Whether as schools, even with your partners, even with your parents, even with your siblings, internal squabbles, friction, as we always say, is not a negative thing necessarily. Sometimes we need these frictions to readjust and realign, right? And get a better perspective of the situation. So
Mm.
you were using, you were reaching out to external factors in person of your staff advisor, right, to help you, see it from a different perspective,
Right.
from an
Yeah.
unbiased,
Yes.
yes, from an unbiased and objective mind, right? Which to me, if you
Yeah.
ask me, it's not really a bad thing, right? Because we can just not do it alone, right? We can't do it alone. And so most people will say, okay, if you decide to do it this way, they'll say, it's because you're involved, you're trying to be biased, you're trying to, make it work based on what you feel and what you want. But if you have an objective person from outside, it's really a good it's a good, for me, if you ask me, it's a good. So we've had through your first year to your 6th year, or should I say from your prelim days through to your
Mm.
6th year. And I think you had an interesting stay in University of Abuja. Like listening to you, you don't sound like the regular vet student that me I know, right? But maybe it's because, of course, Abuja, we all know how Abuja is, right? But us in Sokoto, hmm, it was very interesting. But all we were doing is reading. There was nothing like study life balance. It was study. There was no balance, right? So for what I'm able to get from you now is that
Yeah.
your students should be able to attain a study life balance, right? It's not just about studies alone. You need to be able to balance
Yeah.
your life outside
Yeah.
just studies, right? So we have just about 5 more minutes to go, and I'll just ask you to give us like a general, I don't want to use the word advice, but just give us general tips, right, that you would like to share with whoever is listening out there in regarding leadership and how you were able to, hone your skills, and then how you landed the University of Abuja 2022 Outlier Award from Farmalat. So quickly, can we have that in 3 minutes?
Okay. I think everything has been summarized in the whole story. I think you have the nuggets down already. But
Yeah, I have them
I'll
here.
just
I'll
say
read them
that
out when
yes,
we're done.
yes, yes, yes. I'll just say in fact the leadership skills I've been able to attain over time has really helped me in managing my own family because I'm married now with
Oh yes, I
a
know you're
beautiful
married. I
wife
know you're
and
married.
yeah. So it's more like I'm able to apply all those things in my family now, and it's making it easy for me to manage my family because there's sometimes your wife will be angry, she wants to talk and pour out her mind. We have experienced it in politics before where the followers are angry. You just have to just keep quiet and listen because if you want to be angry and talk back, you can end up killing somebody. Like you can end up scattering the house and all. But some of these leadership skills, patience, understanding, empathy. At some point, she wants to do the whole work. She wants to be the one to cook the food. She wants to, like, "Okay, let me get somebody. So I try to put myself in what she's going through. And like, okay, my dear, well done, well done. Encouraging your followers at the same time is one thing that makes them want to do more. Sometimes I just say, okay, come. I'll just send her a lot. When she just see a lot, like she starts
Hey.
smiling. I'm like, thank you
Ah,
for everything you have been doing. You know, that kind of
oh God.
thing. You know,
Oh
I
my
can just
God.
go out, buy shawarma. It's just a way of encouraging your followers, and it's one thing that's really helped my family very much. And even in my business relationship managers and in Money Point, among we the business relationship managers, they still made some of us the leaders of those business relationship managers. So among the top 10 leaders again that are supposed to lead the organization in terms of business management, because you have to know your work, know what you're doing. As a leader, if you don't make research every day to learn what you have to learn, you will go down. Like you'll be outdated. Thank you. I was looking for that. You'll be outdated, and other people will go ahead. You see somebody that is far younger than you, but because that person is learning every day, the person will just come and overtake you and go. But once you know your work and you know how to empathize. Yes, I like that. I like using this word empathy, because most times our customers are in serious problems. You see somebody come and withdraw and he was debited, and the customer is putting pressure on the person that is managing his business. Like, I'm debited, give my money, give my money. They're under pressure, and they'll direct that pressure to you, their manager. Why would somebody debit me and all? You have to be able to put yourself in the customer's shoe, the BO's shoe, before you start responding. Because if you just start responding, you're like, what it happens to anybody, start talking, but you just be patient and listen to them. You tell them, we will work on it, or this is what is happening, this is why it happened. You didn't check whether there's network in the bank before you did it, which is why it happened like this. Next time, try to check the network for this particular bank before you initiate any withdrawal or transfer. But meanwhile, this dispute takes 24 to 48 hours. If the person has not seen it, let us know so we can escalate it. We'll follow them gently, and some of them will go as far as going to recommend other business people to me, that Kai, my aggregator, my manager is somebody that will take your issue to heart and make sure he listens to you. So we keep getting more referrals because of the way we manage people. So you see, leadership is about managing. If you can manage your family, manage your business, I think your life somehow will be straightforward. Like it will be on on track. So network. Let me just say one thing about network before we run off this conversation. When I was in my 500 level, I was the director of socials for SCG. I didn't mention that I was appointed as the director of socials for the student union government under the president then, President Suleiman Rabiu. And we worked together to see the project we can achieve in terms of quiz competition and debate competition between interfaculties. And when I just finished my DVM, he was opportune to be the state coordinator of Money Point in FCT. The then SCG
Ah.
president is now the state coordinator of Money Point in FCT. I know this is somebody I worked closely with when he was the SCG president. So just tell me, Abdul Salam, I know you have the skill of managing people and talking to people. Come and work with me in Money Point so we can grow Money Point together. This is one network. If I was just a bookworm and I didn't network or explore, I won't get this opportunity to work with somebody that was in statistics department, that did a 4-year course and graduated. I would have just known all the way in vet and move on. So I've been working with him, and he just keeps saying, Kai Abdulsalam, I'm happy I employed you in Money Point, because you have really made our company get more recognition. And so I want to say something about network. And now the money we earn from Money Point now, it's quite, so I can always thank God and thank the fact that quality network can take you to places where you yourself cannot take yourself. So that's one thing. If you have the opportunity to create a quality network, you should create it. You should just create it, because now, if you don't have somebody you can just call and say, okay, I beg, I need 50,000 naira to do something, or I need 100,000 naira. It's part of your network. If you don't have that kind of network on your phone, you still need to grow to a stage where you get that, because it's necessary. There are things money cannot do. There are things money cannot buy. So still in the cycle of network, the dean, the one of the deans of the faculty of veterinary medicine was looking for accommodation for his children. This is the dean of a faculty. He has gone to meet the VC, he didn't get it. He has gone to meet the dean of student affairs himself, he didn't get it. I'm not trying to boast, but somebody told him, go and meet Dr. Smoke. They just recommended me to him. He said, he's one of my students now. Why would I go and meet my students? He didn't even believe anything can happen through me. Like, okay, but he just mounted them, and came to meet me. I'm like, okay, I mean, two of my children don't have accommodation. Please, can you work it for me? I was like, okay, sir, you have not gone to meet the dinners. I try to pretend like I don't know anything because you have to be humble. You don't have to just show yourself most times. They say, sir, have you met the dinners? He say, yes, he has met the dinners. I said, okay. So, sir, give me their number. Let me see. I'll just try and see who I can talk to and see what we can do. I think the following day, I told him that they should go and check their portal. And both of them were giving new hostels that period. New hostel was like a hot cake, not the old hostel. So he was so happy that any student that now come to him to ask for accommodation, he now say, just go and meet Dr. Smoke. I don't know that he will help you, but go and meet Dr. Smoke. You know, that kind of thing.
Yes, 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 yes.
So
You know,
quality
even
network. I can't
yeah,
overemphasize that quality network is one of the best things you can get in life as a
and I
man.
think
So I think I'll end my,
one
yeah.
mistake, yeah, one mistake we make as vet students, right, back then in school, and I think is we don't explore. You know, we just close ourselves within that cycle. Like for me, maybe because we were in a different campus, right? I only knew the people in the medical school, right? Either the people in the College of Health Sciences, or the people in pharmacy or medical lab science. But generally, as human beings right now, we have to be able to network with people from different sector, people from different spheres, people from different departments. Let's use department now in school, because you don't know where, you know, this network will play out, right? Where this network will come in handy, right? Now look at Dr. Aminu is working with the state coordinator, who was the president of the SUG at the time when he was the director of socials, right? And look at where they are today, outside the walls of University of Abuja. So if you Dr. Amino has given us like a summary of everything. So I'll just list out the nuggets I took out from this conversation. As a leader, you should be ready to teach and share knowledge. You should constantly research the system, you know, that you're leading. Research this community that you're reading. Immerse yourself in that community. Understand, you know, be ready to lead by learning and unlearning. You know, be constantly be on top of your game, you know, by researching and understanding the system. Be an empathic leader, right? Try to put yourself in their shoes, right? That's one way you can serve people. Leadership is always, it's all about service to people, right? It's nothing more. It's not about being the boss. It's not about, you know, being at the top of the helm of affairs always. No, it's about serving people. You're there because these people chose you to lead them. So if they chose you to lead them, it just means that you're there to serve them, you know, to make life better for them. And let's talk about quality network, right? We can see how much Dr. Aminu was able to accomplish through quality network. He's still leveraging that quality network in his life post uni days. So let's make sure we pay attention to quality network and exploring. Um, Try and strike a balance between your studies and your personal life. It's not all about reading. It's not all about studying. You have to find ways to unwind. So basically just strike a balance and make sure none of it is suffering. Your studies is on point, and then your life is also checked, right? And then try and maintain good relationship over time. You develop the quality network, so what, right? You have that quality network. Try and maintain good relationship over time. Be selfless, be patient, be open. You know, let's be that go-to person. You know, let as a leader, people should be able to walk up to you, to air their worries, air their views, and, you know, give you feedbacks. Because it might not be directly, but you can also put a process with this technology right now. You can put a process where people can, you know, give you feedback, not necessarily coming to your house or knocking on your door or stopping you on the road. There could be a feedback mechanism, like a feedback system. With technology now, everything is possible, right? You can put a system in place to help you get feedback and make sure that people can reach you and you're also responsive. Um, you can also leverage mentors within your space. In this context, we're talking about staff advisors because, of course, we're talking about leadership. Leadership while in school. So there are always staff advisors around, attached to classes, or attached to associations that will help you, that will give you like an objective perspective when you're experiencing those internal squabbles or some other major challenges. As a leader, you need to listen, you need to understand, you also need to encourage your followers, right? You need to be humble, right? You need to be humble. That cannot be you. You're audacious, right? But be humble at the same time, right? Humility can never be overemphasized. And then, of course, have amazing and great communication skills, because you need to be able to talk to people, to understand. You need to be able to perceive. You need to be able to um yeah, talk, and people will understand with clarity, with conciseness, so be able to communicate, so have amazing and top-notch communication skills. I think this brings me to the end of the nuggets I have taken down. And we'll be having our next episode, that's episode 3, with another outlier next month. We'll keep putting these nuggets together, and I hope students out there are listening. Not just students, right? These are skills that are applicable anywhere in the world, if you ask me. As long as you're able to harness them and hone them properly, these are skills you can apply anywhere. So Dr. Aminu Abdisalam NSC, thank you so much for we're at the end of this session. Thank you so much for sparing out time from your busy schedule. I'm sure you're very busy. You're a business relation manager, managing over 300 businesses and merchants. So I'm sure you have a lot on your schedule to go and attend to. So I'll not hold you in for too long.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining in. Don't forget to like, to share, and also to subscribe to stay updated with our content uploads. See you next time. Take care, Dr. Aminu. My regards
Thank you
to
so much,
all
Ma.
and your merchants and your beautiful wife. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Bye.
Thank you, Ma.
Yeah, bye.